Hey there. So have you ever gone shopping and when you get home you look at your receipt and you see that little bit of sales tax there at the bottom? Have you ever wondered, where does that money really go?
Oh man, how much you pay for him?
$100. American dollars.
108 with tax. I give him 100 headaches.
And what about the DMV? Year after year we stand in those long lines just to have our picture taken or to pay for a sticker that goes on the back of our license plates. Where does that money really go?
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
And don't even get me started on payday. After all, you wait for it to come just to see a big chunk of it's already gone to taxes.
I need that money.
So, where does that money really go? What is it used for? And how does your state budget really work? Let's take a look and settle the question. Don't worry, we're the ones that pause the video. You know, when you have a video that's called How Do State Budgets Work? Well, you might worry that somebody thinks they clicked the wrong video. So, we promise that we'll make this as entertaining as possible. And if we don't, just remember, you're the one that clicked this.
Fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break. That's like 16 walls.
Okay, let's get started. So, after the Constitution was drafted, Founding Father Benjamin Franklin is famous for the words, "In this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes." That's probably why he got put on the $100 bill. That being said, states generally get their money from three different sources. The first are what we call federal funds. They come in the form of grants and aid. The next are what we call cash funds. Those typically come from things like fees or fines. And the last we call general funds. They're typically taxes.
You heard of Phil Jackson?
Yeah.
He's like the gold standard, okay? Triangle.
Let's first look at federal funds. You pay this through your federal income tax to the federal government. They in turn send part of that back to the states through aids and grants. That money goes to help the states pay for things like education, transportation, healthcare, federal assistance programs, environmental protection, emergency relief and recovery, and workforce development. The federal government sends these funds to states because the states can do a better job of delivering those resources to their communities. While the federal government does trust states to deliver these services, they do put certain restrictions on how the money can be used. So for instance, you can't take education dollars and use them to pay for transportation or roads. Now I know you may be asking yourself, well, if I'm paying the federal government, and in turn the federal government's just giving it back to the states, how do I know if I'm getting the most bang for my buck?
That's classified.
It's what?
It's classified. I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Lieutenant.
Actually, that could depend on which state you live in. Let's take a look at two different states, California and South Dakota. A very large state like California receives about $96.2 billion annually from the federal government, while a smaller state like South Dakota receives about $1.4 billion. While South Dakota receives a lot less than California, it's also important to understand that a large state does send more income tax to the federal government. So let's compare how much they receive versus how much they send. For every dollar that California sends to the federal government, they receive 99 cents back. And for every dollar that South Dakota sends to the federal government, they receive $7.87 back.
The problem we're trying to solve is that there are rich teams and there are poor teams. Then there's 50 feet of crap. And then there's us.
Wait, something seems broken in this logic. How could some states get back more than what they send? Well, that's because different states can have very different needs. Unfortunately, some states have lower average income rates, or they have smaller populations. And so they rely on federal assistance more than others. And some states can't run a deficit. It's actually built into their constitutions that they have to have a balanced budget, so they need the federal government's help in balancing it. Regardless of the reason or how much money your state receives, understand that the federal government plays a huge role in how your state does its own budget.
Don't ever say I wasn't there for you.
Next, let's look at cash funds. Cash funds come from what we call fees for service. They can include a driver's license fee, a fee for starting a new business, or even tuition if you go to a state college or university. They're basically anytime you pay the state government for a service and you get something directly back, almost like a business. In most cases, the fee that you're paying is going to have a direct impact on what it is you're paying for. Let's say you wanted to open a restaurant. Your state may require that you get a business license or a food and beverage license.
You could have had the food and beverage job without going on television. You wanted to go on TV. Yeah.
The fees collected from food and beverage licenses go to pay for services like health inspections. So those are cash funds and federal funds. Lastly, let's take a look at general funds. General funds typically come from taxes. There are three main types of taxes: sales tax, income tax, and property tax. Sales tax are the taxes you pay on goods. Whether you're shopping for clothes or going to a restaurant, buying furniture, or even a car, you're more than likely paying sales tax on it.
Hey, hello. Do you remember me? No, I'm sorry. I was in here yesterday. You wouldn't wait on me? Oh, you work on commission, right? Yes. Big mistake. Big. Huge. I have to go shopping now.
Income tax are the taxes you pay when you get paid. They're for having a job or making income.
This is a big promotion, Pete. It's huge.
So you're gonna fire Michael and Samir and you're gonna give me more money? Wow.
Property tax are the taxes you pay for owning property in your state.
How did you get the house back from the bank?
I bought the bank.
The biggest difference between the taxes that are collected in general funds and the fees that are collected in cash funds are how they can be used. General funds can be used pretty generally. They don't have to be associated to the same source that they came from. For example, sales tax can go to something that we don't necessarily collect a fee on, like free K-12 education.
How do you get funding for something like this? You don't actually think they spend $20,000 on a hammer, $30,000 on a toilet seat, do you?
And general funds tend to go to the same places that federal funds go to, like education, transportation, and healthcare. In fact, most federal funds require a general fund match. So for every dollar that the state spends, they could get back $2 from the federal government.
Help me. Help you. Help me. Help you. Help me. Help you.
As frustrating as taxes and fees can be, now you know where it goes and how it helps pay for things like better schools, teachers, and computers for our kids, better roads to get you to work, to the grocery store, or get your Amazon package delivered on time, state parks for you to visit and take walks and hikes in, health departments that keep your food safe to eat and your water safe to drink,
You're a lifesaver, Sal.
and a whole host of other services that communities rely on day to day.
Assemble.
So I really hope that learning about state budgets and where your money really goes wasn't as painful as you thought it would be.
Oh, good job. Good job. Really good job.
So how do state budgets work? Well, that's a settled question. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.